Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me for Weekly Recap. It's that time again. It's Weekly Recap. Let's get after it. Did 2 loads this week. And if you guys don't know, I'll give you a quick breakdown of Weekly Recap. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check out the description down below for all the fun things. Hang around at the end. I run a commercial at the end. Just saying. So let's talk about it. So I do Weekly Recap. I kind of go over the loads I did. I talk about why I did them. All that fun stuff. I talk about variable expenses. I do not talk about fixed expenses. You would need to plug those at the end if you're going to have a truck payment and whatever your insurance would be. I don't really talk about those two, other than the fact of I made big payments on my truck and I paid it off early, and I don't have a truck payment at the moment. And I don't talk about my insurance because everyone's insurance is so different. I could tell you I pay X amount a week, and it really shouldn't mean anything to you because you're going to call and get your own insurance quotes. So that's the way I look at that. I'm leased to an 80-20 split reefer carrier. If these are reefer loads, if they're not, I'll tell you what kind of loads they are. But mostly we haul reefer freight. I'm in the food moving around game, you know. So that's kind of it. I don't talk about my carrier. And this week is from the end of 2022. I think there'll probably be one more week in this, but it'll be like a short week. Won't be a full week because this is coming up on the end of the year right here. This is over Christmas is what this is actually. So this I stayed out for Christmas. I took my Christmas in early December and did it then, and then I stayed out over Christmas to make better money during Christmas. Sacrifices. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. I'm not telling you should do that because a lot of times it don't work. It don't work. So sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So I started off on a back haul. I started my week down in Texas. If you recall, last Weekly Recap, I took a load down to North Carolina, and then instead of coming back to Minnesota, I opted to take a load to Texas because this is the week when it was like super duper cold all over the country, like, 20 degrees below normals. So instead of going back to Minnesota and playing in the snow, I took that load down to Texas. So that's where we start our week, in Texas. Texas reefer freight, no bueno that week. Oh, was it bad. I was not going to sit down there and wait, and I was not going to haul reefer freight for $2 a mile. So I had a load out of Arkansas offered to me, and it was paying the same amount as loads out of Austin and, in that area. And I said, well, yeah, I want a deadhead. It's my strategy. I want a deadhead back toward the house and get a load that pays to take me back to the house. So if the loads from Austin are paying $2,500 back to Minnesota, I'd be a fool not to go to Arkansas and get a load that pays $2,500 back to Minnesota. It's a day less on the reefer, basically. It's not hauling weight. That's my strategy. So I took a load out of Arkansas, $2,500 load out of Arkansas. It was a chicken load, and I deadheaded 366 miles up there to get that load. So it was like 1,200 miles back to Minnesota, like 11 to 1,200. And so I deadheaded 366 of it. I picked it up. I had 782 loaded miles back up there. So that load was $2,500 on 1148. Not a good average. Not a good average. Like $217 a mile, I think is what that worked out to. Something like that. But it's part of a bigger strategy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get too worked up about it because I know it's part of a bigger strategy. And I've been doing it for years like this, and it's working. So, I'm just going to keep working it. That load was 24 degrees. Like I said, loaded chicken, packaged chicken. Still took forever to load, but it is what it is. 30,000 pounds on that load. So that was my load got me from Texas back to Minnesota. So now we're in Minnesota, and it's like the day after Christmas here. So I know New Year's is coming. I was going to try to be home for New Year's, but to take off a whole nother week, basically, from the 26th to like the 2nd or 3rd, I wasn't willing to do it. It would have killed my month because I'd already taken off 2 full weeks in early December. So, somebody got to haul this freight. Somebody got to haul it. And so what I did is I just called and I said, hey, can I get a reload on the day after Christmas? And they found me a good one. This is people who have connections working in my benefit. That's what it is. So I got a load. It was out of Minnesota going down to North Carolina, like Charlotte area. And it was 50 degrees. It was protect from freeze. 41,000 pounds. And it paid $5,500. So it was 153 empty miles to go get it, and then it was 1,212 on the loaded miles. So it was 1,365 total miles for $5,500. That's pretty dang good in my world. I like this. Now, let's break some stuff down here in the variable cost. So we basically went from Texas up to Arkansas to grab a load. Took that load up into Minnesota, then Minnesota down to North Carolina. A good week, I would say. Here lately, the average, I've been trying to make 7,000 a week, and that's 8,000 for the week. So that's above average. That's a good week to me. Now, that's why I didn't get too worried about the deadheading, so much, because I knew if I could just get back to Minnesota, us being between Christmas and New Year, there's probably going to be a lot of people taking time off, so there would be some freight to haul, especially on a long load, because, I picked it up and got it delivered like on a Monday, I think, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm done before New Year, so I can still maybe get something that pays good over New Year. That's next week. Stay tuned. I'll get to that. On the next one. Make sure you're subscribed, like I said, and you'll get the updates. So not a bad week for me. Kind of a average week on running, 2,513 miles running, but a good rate, good rates. So total $8,000 revenue. My 80% of that is $6,400. I can live with that. All miles, 2,513 all miles. That's all miles. 519 of that was deadhead miles. So my fuel economy was kind of meh this week because it was so cold. Even down in Texas, it was like in the 20s, and I ain't crying about 20 degrees. I went down there to get out of the cold, but still, coming back up to Minnesota, I was dealing with some really, really cold temperatures. So fuel economy not the greatest with all that deadhead, but it kind of averages out. 1994 on loaded miles. So loaded miles 1,994. We're talking all miles. Every mile the truck turned paid $3.18. That's a good rate for me. I'd take it all day. My 80% is $2.54 a mile. Again, very profitable at $2.54 a mile. Loaded miles over $4 a loaded mile. Come on with that. Just had the deadhead to get it, unfortunately. But so that, to me, that's why I'm not a big fan of just telling you the loaded mile rate, because it's kind of deceiving. There'll be a lot of guys on YouTube that will love to just show you that and put that on the thumbnail. I'm getting $4 a mile. But I like to tell you the loaded mile just so you can kind of see the rates. But in reality, we're talking $3.18 a mile because a lot of deadhead to get to these loads. Just how trucking works. So let's talk variable expenses, the variables. $16.56 on diesel. Like I said, I put quite a bit of diesel in this on this week. I remember running in to get unloaded, and then I kind of had to run around and do some stuff, and then because I was planning on getting fuel after I got unloaded. And then I had to make like a special trip north and then another trip back south, to get that last load unloaded on the last week. So I remember that first fill up was one of the biggest fill ups I'd done in a while. It was like 170 gallons. I don't like to do that. I like to fuel like every day. Like I like to buy like between 60 and 100 gallons a day. Just, have it. But either way, $16.56 on diesel, $80 on reefer fuel. When it's super cold outside, you don't use a lot of reefer fuel. That 24 degrees, that was packaged chicken. Like that was like, sliced and diced and ready to eat. So that 24 degrees, I ran that on start and stop. My thing is I'll run it continuous for maybe like 5 to 8 hours, just whatever. That way I know the product is got a lot of airflow around it and it's got its temperature down to where it needs to be. And then I click it over on start and stop because I'm like, hey, my refrigerator runs start and stop at the house, and that's the same food that would be in a refrigerator. So that's how I look at that. And then the protect from freeze was the same thing. A protect from freeze load, unless it's going to be on a trailer for 4 or 5 days, or it's going into just like negative 20 degree weather, the insulated trailer and the heat that's already in the product, the trailer hardly ever cuts on. Protect from freeze is great because you get paid extra, but you really don't run that much extra on the reefer. You get hours on the reefer as far as being cut on, but you don't get run hours on it. I don't think that load kicked on the whole way. And then by the time I got down to like Ohio, West Virginia area, it was already like in the 40s and 50s outside. So I had to actually up the protect from freeze temperature on the reefer, or I was going to be cooling product. I mean, I'm not cooling your protect from freeze. That's not how it works. So very little reefer fuel used on that. Nice. $37 in DEF fluids, $95 in tolls. That was going through Chicago and the West Virginia Turnpike, and $13 on a scale. I scaled the heavy load there, that 41,000 protect from freeze load. So variable expenses, $1,881, $1,881 on the variables. We bring over my $6,400, my 80%, deduct $1,881 from it. We are left with $4,519. And I take $500 of that, I'll put it over into the maintenance account, and that leaves me $4,019 left to do what I have to do with. And a fuel cost for the week was 66 cents truck fuel for the week. Now that doesn't calculate in reefer fuel. If you think I'm not calculating that in and it's throwing you off and it's messing you up, oh my God, stop huffing paint in your stepmom's basement because you're killing your brain cells. I'm talking truck fuel here because I do this because other people watch that do other things than, reefer. So if you want to see, I got a 2016 Cascadia, that's about what I'm spending on fuel without idling a lot. I don't idle a lot. I have a bunk heater. This week here probably had more idle time than average just because of really cold temperatures. I like to warm my truck up nice. I do have a front cover I put on the truck when it's really cold out to help it build temperature and hold temperature. You don't want to cool certain parts too quick, so I do that to help hold some temperature in. But I'm not one of these guys that'll be running my front cover when it's 50 degrees outside. It's not good for your engine, I don't think. But I've seen guys at 50 degrees be rolling down the road with a front cover on the truck. It's not for me, but I guess as long as it works for them, that's the thing. But that's it, guys. Good week. I take a week like that every week. Didn't kill myself. One pick, one drop on both loads. Both of the deliveries were awesome. The first one went to a major, distribution center, and holy smokes, it must have been something about the day after Christmas. They was on point. I think I wasn't even there for 2 hours. And then the Protect from Freeze went to a dry warehouse, which, you know, most dry warehouses are like, yeah, show up whenever you want and we'll unload you as soon as you touch the door. You know, I mean, there's something to that dry van life, let me tell you. So that's it, guys. Good week. I appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to hang around and check out the advertisement. Take care of each other out there, please. And remember, people are more important than trucking. Hey, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Just want to talk to you a little bit about a company I'm partnering with, Mighty Products, spelled M-Y-T-E-E. You flatbed guys probably already know them. They are huge into flatbed, straps, tarps, everything, toolboxes. I mean, they sell everything for trucking. Go check them out. Links are down there in the comments and in the description of the video. Check it out. I really appreciate them reaching out and wanting to work with my channel. It helps me out tremendously if you shop through my link. I would much appreciate it. And let me know what you think about them if you do buy something from them. Thanks. Appreciate your feedback.